you'll see slight lines where each roller stroke has gone over the next. This will disappear on the second coat. One thing to be careful of is this type of thing here, where the paint's been applied with a roller, and within about 5 minutes I've rolled over it again just to touch it up, but because the paint's semi-dry, it pulls the paint off and you get this patching. That's something you want to avoid. Normally, depending on which type of light fitting you have, decorators would cut in around this light switch, which I did, but I also used a roller right up to the edge. This way you don't see lines, brush marks around the switch or the sockets. If you can do that and you haven't got anything impeding you, try and use a roller. Another little trick with cutting in is when you get your brush loaded, ready to paint, don't start next to the wet edge. Start a little bit further away and then brush out towards the wet edge. And this way you can spread out the paint more evenly. And then always finish off with 1 or 2 dry brushes across the top edge, just to make sure you don't have paint ridges. Make sure the roller is fully loaded, so dab a little bit of paint, drag it into the tray and roll it back and forth until the whole roller is covered. You can switch here to help disperse the paint. I like to start near the bottom, roll up to the top, keeping a straight line, keeping a wet edge. The wet edge is the previous line of paint. You want to try and contact that, get as close as you can to the top. With the masking tape, it allows you to actually tap the top, so you can get as much paint as possible on the wall, and the same at the bottom. Just be cautious you don't go over and rub onto the freshly painted white skirting board. Then you want to go back about 50% over the previous line, just to disperse and fade out the paint, so it looks like one continuous wet section of paint. When you're doing the window surrounds or small sections of wall, you want to load the roller up with 50% or less paint, so you haven't got too much paint. So try and make sure you load it up a little bit with a little bit less paint, and then you can get a really nice mottled roller finish instead of any brush marks. Try and go all the way to the edge. When painting in a corner, have the metal bar away. So you don't have it like this, you have the metal bar away from the corner. This allows you to go in tight, like you can see here. With the radiator, I used a small 100mm or 4-inch roller. And I just feathered into about here and about here. So I painted heavily behind it and then just rolled off a little bit extra paint so I could feather it out. So then I could come in with the big roller and do the same this way. If you don't feather it and you leave too much paint, it's like cutting in where you've left a ridge. You're going to have the paint from this and the paint from the big roller overlapping here or here, and you'll see a dark patch, especially with the fluorescent colour or the 1035 ultramarine, because it is slightly translucent. Tools are always important. Don't think you can do the job with cheap tools, brushes, rollers, etc. This is a Hamilton fully synthetic. That's recommended by Bristol to use with their paints. This is a 4-inch thin to medium pile roller. This is a medium pile, actually Axis roller. They work really well. I've never used it before, really good. We've got Axis handles with screw fits for both, and this Axis pole, which is quick extendable, again, screw. Don't bother with push on. If you see them these days, screw on is much better. Spend the money on the tools, look after them, and you'll be able to use them for years. Another tip, wrap the paintbrushes and rollers in plastic bags, make them as airtight as possible, and they will stay wet for days, if not weeks. I wouldn't recommend leaving them in plastic for more than 2 to 3 days maximum. I used Easy Mask 48mm wide clean edge tape. Important to use a low tack
so that it's nice and easy to remove.
One thing you may notice is when you paint the skirting board, the paint runs down a little bit and then forms a bit of a sticky edge here. So when you peel the tape off, the tape sticks and tears. If you go along and just separate it, pushing down like this, and then just pull the tape away without tearing.